This is a console I never thought I'd own, which at this point I could say about half the systems in my collection. The Neo Geo Pocket Color with the amazing, delicious clicky stick. Dude, it's so satisfying. Just listen to this sucker. The buttons are so nice and springy, they feel perfect. I got the system for 150 bucks. It came with games that on their own are worth that price. And it came with a screen modded by the previous owner. Like many old handhelds, it did not have a backlight. But this mod gives it a full-blown IPS screen, which stands for it's fucking so good. No, it stands for in-plane switching. And it looks crisp and beautiful. And just watch and enjoy this amazing little opening jingle. Man, I love this shit. This console is so awesome. I wouldn't even go out of my way to say I'm not boy.
I'm not the boy.
The system has a coin battery for keeping the time, as well as regular AA's for power. You can put in your birthday, change the color of the menus, check your horoscope. Here's my fortune. That doesn't look good. While Neo Geo focused most of their efforts on arcades, and their consoles were usually insanely expensive arcade quality hardware for enthusiasts, this little handheld was such an amazing way to get Neo Geo goodness for cheap and on the go. Everything about this system feels perfectly crafted. You could do multiplayer via link cable or even hook it up to a Sega Dreamcast with some games. I'm going to talk about the games I have in alphabetical order because, I don't know. Starting with Densha Go 2. I'm already a sucker for this arcadey train simulation series. I started with EX on the Saturn, an enhanced and expanded version of the first game. Then I got Densha Go 2 for the PS1, which I have a controller for, and then I got Densha Go Final for the PS2, which I also have a controller for. And unlike the first controller, this one has rumble motors, which really adds to the immersion. There are two motors and you can just feel it go like ka-chunk, ka-chunk as you drive along on the tracks. It's so satisfying. And I played the arcade version of Densha Go 2 as well as newer releases when I was in Tokyo. But honestly, I prefer 2 over the newest one. I didn't really like all the UI pop-ups everywhere, and I missed the old school kinda cute anime mascot they have, which was more fun than the very generic, kinda like a typical current Korean MMO style. I was talking about the Neo Geo Pocket, right? So, just like the flagship release, this is a game where you're the train driver, and you select a specific line to drive and focus on maintaining good speed, not crossing the speed limit, arriving on time, and braking just right so that people can easily step off the platform and onto your train. Or if they're fucking stupid and want to leave, I guess they can do that too. These games are therapeutic for me. I get into such a groove while just driving along, watching the environments, listening to the sounds, and the only really challenging part is braking, but it's fun to get good at. Of course, I'd recommend the other games over this, especially Final. That's my favorite so far. But at the time this was released, I'd be so happy to have it, and hell, I'm happy to have it now. It's such a cute novelty, and it genuinely does a good job replicating the original feel. Out of all the 90s handheld versions of Densha Go, I'd say go with this one for sure. Fatal Fury First Contact is the first fighting game we're looking at. It might seem kinda weird to play a fighting game on a system with just 2 buttons, but they do a good job of scaling things back while still feeling fun, fluid, and satisfying. This game is based on Real Bout Fatal Fury 2. Of course, unlike the mainline Fatal Fury games, you can't jump in and out of the background. Usually you have 2 lanes you can jump in and out of, with unique moves if you attack during a lane change. Though Real Bout Fatal Fury 2 actually has some single lane stages in the original arcade release, so it's not like the handheld is missing that much. There's also a brand new playable character here, Lao, though he's only in the versus mode. It's got a decent roster with a solid 13 characters. It's a small and light Fatal Fury experience on the go, and it's a good time. It's a neat game, but not one I play too often. It's probably the one I play the least out of all my fighting games for the console. Ganbare NeoPoke-kun is one of the strangest games I own. According to the SNK fan wiki, it's a homage to Little Computer People, also known as House on a Disc. Though I couldn't find any official confirmation of this, so I have no clue if that's true. It's a very simple little game. You don't control NeoPoke-kun himself, but you can trigger various events which change depending on the time of day. Most of the game is just watching him wander around his room, sleeping, reacting to stuff. The happier he is, the more willing he is to work on his little video games. They're all really simple, often being parodies of popular early video games, a lot of them being like arcade games. People will often compare this to WarioWare, which is understandable since there's a total of 30 minigames to play. But that's basically all you do, you just mess around, see how many events you can find, and play his silly games. I also love that the cover has these funny photos, and this character design is delightfully silly, and he's such an odd but fun mascot for the system itself. It's a fun title to just boot up every now and then and mess around a bit, maybe go for a high score in one of the games he's made and then call it quits and come back another day. King of Fighters R2 is the second King of Fighters game on the system, the first being released for the original non-color Neo Geo Pocket. King of Fighters is SNK's big crossover fighting series, which features characters from several of their games. Though a key difference between this and Fatal Fury is that you select a team of 3 characters. You can't swap between them like in Marvel vs. Capcom or in the mainline King of Fighters games. Here you just select them in the order you want to fight as, and then go for it, trying to beat the enemy team. This game also has connectivity with the King of Fighters 98 and the King of Fighters Dream Match 1999 on the Sega Dreamcast. There's a cable made to connect the Neo Geo Pocket to the Dreamcast, which I just think is such a fun thing to be able to do. You get more gallery images like art and stuff, as well as being able to tweak and boost characters. It's a neat addition. KOF is not one of my favorites, but I really think they did a great job converting it to this console. The Last Blade Beyond the Destiny is a port of both of the Last Blade games. It starts like the first game, but the story and cutscenes from the sequel become unlockable. It's really cool to be able to experience this small version of the whole The Last Blade saga, as it only ever had 2 entries. It's a super faithful port. The recreations of the stages are so well done. It even keeps the neat little stage intro cutscenes. I just love that attention to detail. This is one of my favorite fighting games that I've gotten into in more recent years. It really does feel like a more serious version of Samurai Showdown. While Sam Show is a lot more colorful and wacky, The Last Blade is far more somber and moody. And this little adaptation here really scratches the itch well. While it doesn't carry over the entire cast, I'm really satisfied with the selections overall. With story mode, survival, training, and more, you got a lot of stuff to mess around with, despite this being a simplified chibi fighter. There's a gallery with story details and rewatchable cutscenes. I really think they nailed it with this one, and it's well worth a try. Metal Slug First Mission is a fantastic downscaling of the Metal Slug experience. It has a bit more emphasis on exploration and platforming. You can shoot in 4 directions, and like the main games, when you are close to an enemy, you automatically melee. To start, you can only play as the male character, but a female character becomes playable after beating it once. You got your different weapons and Metal Slugs to commandeer. Saving prisoners will net you weapons, ammo, or points. There are a few different paths you can take depending on how well you do, and there are ways of beating the game without playing every mission. One really awkward part of the controls is having to press the option button to swap to grenades, then you can throw them, but then you have to press it again to swap back to regular weapons. This was thankfully changed in the sequel released a year later. In Metal Slug's second mission, you just press option to throw grenades. And man, in my opinion, the sequel is just a far better game. Its missions feel more varied, there's also twice as many missions this time around, and you get 2 characters right off the bat with a 3rd character unlocked after beating all missions. I know I keep saying it, but it's true every time. They just keep doing a fantastic job converting these big arcade games into small handheld experiences. And I think Metal Slug even more so than the fighters, because you really do feel like you have all the controls you need. They're a solid challenge, but I never got particularly frustrated. It was just a good time. And these are the games I got with my console, which on their own is worth the $150 I paid for it. Second mission in particular is sadly pretty rare. Puzzle Bobble Mini, also known as Bust-A-Move Pocket, is a delightfully simple puzzle game. You just try to shoot the spheres and connect them to ones with the same color. It's all about trying to clear the screen as fast as possible. There's also timed challenges as well as a versus mode in which you can play with a friend using the link cable. I didn't mention it, but the fighting games also usually feature the link cable support. Sadly, the link cables are insanely expensive and really rare, so I have not been able to try it for myself. I don't really have much to say about Puzzle Bobble. I just like it. It's pleasant, cute, simple, and pretty fun. I always enjoy seeing the funny critters from Bobble. Also, apparently their names are Bub and Bob. That's pretty badass. I just felt like I needed some kind of puzzle game on the system, because it's nice to have something that's so easy to boot up, play for a couple of minutes and stop. Which I feel like already is kind of the case for most of the games on this system, but still, just more variety, you know, it's the spice of life. Samurai Showdown 2 is a game you'd think would be a port of Samurai Showdown 2, but nope, it's actually a port of the second Samurai 64 game, which for some baffling reason is sometimes referred to as Samurai Showdown 2 or Samurai Spirits 2 in Japan, but its full title is Samurai Showdown 64 Warrior's Rage. This was not a Nintendo 64 game, but a game for the Neo Geo Hyper 64 arcade hardware. That was very much a failure. I haven't been able to emulate these games, but the general consensus is that they are not very good Samurai Showdown games. And that's a shame, especially because they have those really cool Laserdisc OVAs. There's some really neat new characters introduced in the two Sam Show 64 games, but that's where the Neo Geo Pocket Color game comes in. You can play the roster and experience a small version of the story here, and honestly, this is fantastic. As a big Sam Show fan, with 4 being my personal favorite, having this adorable chibi rendition on the go is just so awesome. You got one player story, versus, and survival mode, as well as a collection of cards you get when beating the game. These cards can be equipped to give you buffs, or to add new special moves, which I think is super cool. You can also use the link cable to trade cards with friends, and that's also super neat. And interestingly enough, the game keeps track of how long you've played it, so as you can see here, I've got over 5 hours, which isn't too bad. There's 15 characters with a 16th secret character, the main antagonist Yuga the Destroyer, which is a fantastic roster size for a handheld fighter. The special moves and supers just feel so faithful, and for some reason the mad lads at Saurus who developed this game made day and night versions of several stages. I really appreciate all this effort. This is my favorite fighting game on the system, and I highly recommend it. The last game is Sonic Pocket Adventure, and man, I love this game. It feels like a handheld celebration of the Mega Drive titles. Though, something that caught me off guard when I first played it is that they use a modern Sonic design, but the stages are mostly themed around Sonic 1 and 2. It's a delightful game, and it feels really good. The physics and movements are very well handled. There's 12 stages, with the 13th being the final boss area. It's a very standard 2D Sonic fare, speedy platforming and various bosses at the end of zones. A big reason why I love this game so much is because of the time trials, which is in the trial room. One thing that's always freaked me out here is Sonic's miscolored legs. It's just weird. There's the regular time trial with grades you get at the end based on how quickly you beat it, and the advanced mode, which is exactly the same, but you need at least 50 rings at the end of a stage. The dual room is for multiplayer, so I can't try it out, but you play as Sonic and Tails, and you can play 2 modes, either get to the end first or collect a certain amount of rings first. As you keep playing, you'll also unlock pieces of images, but you gotta put them together the right way. There's 16 pieces of art in total. This game doesn't reach the heights of something like the Sonic Advance trilogy, with the second one of those being my favorite by far, but of course it won't. The GBA is way more powerful, and considering the type of hardware we got going on here, the Neo Geo Pocket produced an amazing handheld Sonic game for the era. It's not something you need to play, but if you're even remotely interested in this system and enjoy Sonic games, give it a go. It's a really good time. Who knows what Neo Geo Pocket game I'll get next. I do want to try to get Card Fighters Clash one of these days, but I haven't been able to find it for a price I'm willing to pay, so for now that's all the games I got for this nifty little device, and that's all I got for you this time. Thanks for watching.